Part 110. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 1092. Chapter 1092 Decompose small map. Dig the passage above. What seasonings do you have? Suchen asked. There are salt, pepper, and chili powder. There are 2 bottles of each, just like the small bottles in the supermarket. But I just want to sell 1 bottle of each. Suchen could understand why the other party wanted to keep part of it. After all, this kind of thing is hard to find. Leave some for yourself. If you have food in the future, you can greatly improve your living conditions. Suchen thought for a while and said, "Okay, how do you want to exchange it?" Xiaoxiaoling said, 3 bottles of seasonings in exchange for 3 days of food. How about that? Suchen frowned. Then it quickly stretched out. I don't have much food left. How about I give you 2 days worth of food, plus 500 milliliters of water? Make a deal. Xiaoxiaoling originally didn't have much water, only 500 milliliters. She drank sparingly and could barely sustain herself for a week. But that's the limit of her body. Now she can have 500 milliliters more, which must be very good. At that moment, Suchen started trading with the other party. Anyway, he was not short of water. He also gave 2 portions of strong dog meat. The strong dog meat had no other special effects. Although the snake meat had no special effects, it was delicious and especially suitable for roasting. Suchen is reluctant to trade. Ding. You get pepper 1, you get salt 1, you get chili powder *1. The 3 kinds of seasonings are in hand. Suchen can finally enjoy the delicious food for a while. After having enough wine and food. After resting for a while. Suchen put away the cave paradise. He took the little colorful butterfly and observed the surroundings. The small map he obtained before it's no longer useful. Next, he has to continue to explore one by one. Now that the mini-map is useless, can it be decomposed? Suchen had this idea and immediately took out the small map. Ding. Do you want to disassemble mini-map *1? It's really decomposable. Breakdown. Ding. You successfully disassembled mini-map 1 and obtained green 2 and silk cloth *1. Huh. This thing can actually decompose green. Green is also one of the materials needed to upgrade Dongtian Paradise. But now Suyi only has this green one left. To upgrade the Cave Heaven Paradise, you need 5 copies of green. In the future, he would have to find at least 1 other green treasure chest to collect them all. As for silk cloth, the description says it is an advanced equipment manufacturing material. Suchen currently does not have the manufacturing drawings for the equipment he is wearing, so he can only put it in his backpack for later use. Observe around the cave. This direction is empty. There is some food in this direction. There is a poisonous snake and a small amount of ore in this direction. You are strong enough to kill this poisonous snake easily. There is a green treasure chest in this direction. With your ability, you can fly up and get it. This direction is a land of ice and snow. If you enter it, you will get nothing but coldness. Read it in 6 directions. In comparison, only the thing in the direction above the head is better, which is a green treasure chest. It can just break down the green Suchen needs. Compared to the green treasure chest, the poisonous tongue and a small amount of ore in the other direction are not so necessary. The key is, Suchen can fly now. You can fly freely. So the passage above our heads can finally be dug. At that moment, Suchen picked up the shovel and started digging into the cave above his head. Ding. You get sand *1. Ding. You get sand *1. Ding. You get sand *1. Dig your way through. Because the excavated sand will immediately turn into items and enter Suchen's backpack. So when he dug up, no sand, gravel, dust or anything like that fell on him. Suchen was still very satisfied with this. This prevents him from becoming disgraced as he digs upward. Little Kati on the side saw her master do such a thing for the first time. Fei looked on curiously. When the tunnel is dug, a white teleportation tunnel appears in the eye. Little Kati made a surprised wow sound. Seeing that this little guy is so confused, he wants to fly into the transmission channel. Suchen caught her. Don't run around. This is a teleportation channel. If you act alone, I can't guarantee whether I can see you next time. Hearing Suchen's warning, Xiao Kaidi nodded in understanding. She looked at the passage again. There is a green treasure chest in this direction. Your ability is enough to get it? There is no danger inside. Suchen saw that there was no problem, so he pinched her waist and thought. The blue-grade flying ring immediately took him to fly into the teleportation channel above his head. With a snap, Suchen appeared in the edge of the cave. It seems that even if I fly and teleport to a new cave, I will only appear on the ground. Suchen was thoughtful. He looked around and found a raised rock above the cave. There was a green treasure box on the rock. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 1093. Chapter 1093 Automatic Quicksand Net Manufacturing Diagram. Goblin Merchant. The raised rock is more than 10 meters above the ground. If Suchen didn't have the ability to fly, he wouldn't be able to get the treasure chest even if he discovered it. A thought came to my mind at the moment. The flying ring in his hand immediately led him to the green treasure chest with great ease and flexibility. There is no danger in this treasure chest. After seeing the prompt, Suchen opened the treasure box directly. Ding! You get salt *5. Obtain automatic quicksand net manufacturing diagram *1. Ding! You decompose the green treasure chest and get green *2. In this way, Suchen has collected enough green needed to upgrade the cave heaven paradise. Now only gold, silver, copper, and spiritual talismans are left. Although I got a portion of salt from a trade with the player before, salt is necessary for human life. The more the better. With these 5 portions of salt, it is enough for me for 2 to 3 months. Suchen put away the salt happily. Look at the manufacturing drawing again. Automatic quicksand net manufacturing diagram. What is this for? Suchen curiously looked at the description of the manufacturing diagram. Automatic quicksand net manufacturing diagram, it can be used to make automatic quicksand nets. The automatic quicksand net is installed at the bottom of Dongtian Paradise. It has a probability of automatically capturing objects flowing in the sand. This item is only for dead objects, and Dongtian Paradise must be unfolded to operate. I go. It can actually capture items automatically. Suchen thought of a standalone minigame he played before, called Raft Survival. In it, you can install some catching nets around the raft to catch various items drifting on the sea, without having to use hooks to catch them directly. It saves a lot of worry and effort. Once the capture net catches something, you only need to go and collect it. I think this automatic quicksand net should have the same magical effect as that catching net, but you need to use it to know exactly how it works. Suchen first took a look at the things needed to make this quicksand net. The materials required to make the automatic quicksand net: spirit 1, rope 10, board 5, iron block 2. Required the things he bought were very ordinary. It just required a lot of rope. Suchen didn't have enough linen in his backpack, but it didn't bother him. He directly hung some water on the trading platform to exchange for linen or rope. Among them, 50 ml of water exchange for 50 parts of flax. Or 50 ml of water, exchange for 5 parts of rope. After hanging this up, Suchen ignored it and returned to the ground. At this moment, the ground suddenly bulged, as if something was about to come out, rustling. There was a sound. Suchen quickly flew up and took aim with the electric crossbow. Tip: if a goblin merchant passes by your place, if you make good friends with him, you will trade unexpected good things. Huh? Goblin merchant? Can you trade? Suchen calmly put away the electric crossbow again. At this time, a short creature finally emerged from the ground. It had green skin, a pointed nose, long ears, and eyes. It was very big. There was something like a storage bag hanging on his waist. When he saw Suchen in the air, he screamed in fright and immediately wanted to get back in. How could Suchen let him go when he saw this? Especially the reminder that Goldfinger has said that as long as you make good friends with him, you can trade good things. Suchen quickly took out the last piece of snake meat and said loudly, "Wait a minute. I've got some great deals here. I have no hostility, I just want to trade." Hearing Suchen's words, the goblin hesitated for a moment, then carefully dug half of its body into the soil, leaving only its head exposed, staring closely at Suchen. It seemed that as long as there was something wrong with Suchen, he would immediately run away. Suchen, I was convinced by this guy's timidity. After thinking about it, I immediately took out the weeds and wooden boards and lit a fire on the spot. Then I skewered the last piece of snake meat and grilled it. While grilling, sprinkled with seasonings. I smiled at the goblin, said, "The barbecue is very fragrant and delicious. If you want it, we can trade it." The goblin twitched his pointed nose, drooling around the alluring aroma of barbecue in the air. Then he made a sharp voice and said, "Do you really just want to trade?" Suchen pointed at Xiaokai Dai sitting on his shoulder and said, "I swear by the peace-loving elves." Xiaokati. Of course, this sentence was said casually by Suchen. But it seems that creatures like elves represent peace no matter where they are. The goblin looked at the little colorful butterfly on Suchen's shoulder. Nodded. I kind of believed Suchen. He walked out immediately and carefully came 6 meters away from Suchen. From this position, you can smell the rich aroma of barbecue more conveniently. The goblin blinked and said, "How do you want to trade this?" Suchen smiled. Finally took the bait. "What do you have?" "This is the only portion of my barbecue left. The only meat left is dog meat, but it doesn't have the delicious taste of fat and lean meat, so it is very rare." The goblin thought for a moment and took out a magic talisman from the storage bag on his waist. "I'll exchange it for this." You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 1094. Chapter 1094, Low-Level Agility Scroll. Suchen took a closer look and saw that it was an Earth Spirit Talisman. One friend is too few. The goblin thought about it again. The piece of barbecue was roasting on the fire, and the aroma of the freshly roasted meat was too tempting. Under this continuous and increasingly stronger temptation, the goblin took another step from the storage bag. Take out a scroll. This is a low-level agility scroll, which can permanently increase your agility attributes. In addition to the Earth Spirit Talisman just now, how about replacing it with your barbecue? Suchen felt that he couldn't be too greedy, otherwise he would not be able to continue dealing with goblins in the future. He then smiled and said, "Deal." The goblin happily took 2 steps closer. But he was still full of fear of Suchen. After Suchen finished grilling the barbecue. "It's already baked, put it here." Suchen placed the barbecue on a clean wooden board and motioned for the other party to take it away. Then he took a few steps back very sincerely. The goblin quickly stepped forward and took away the barbecue on the board. He smelled it and let out a sigh of great enjoyment. But he was not willing to eat it. Instead, he put it directly into the storage bag. Then he placed an Earth Spirit Talisman and a low-level agility scroll on the ground. He smiled and said sharply to Suchan, "You are an honest human being, I will remember you, see you later." Then he went straight into the ground and disappeared. Suchan stepped forward and picked up the things on the ground. Ding! You get Earth Spirit Talisman *1. Ding! You get low-level agility scroll *1. Low-level agility scroll, after use, a small amount of agility attributes can be immediately and permanently improved. Each player can only use this scroll once in his life. Can only be used once. Suchan raised his eyebrows. He immediately rubbed his hands. The scroll turned into a ball of green light in his hands and penetrated into his body. Soon, Suchan felt that he seemed to become lighter. He ran around at will move 2 steps. His speed actually increases. He is extremely flexible in the blink of an eye. If he encounters that ferocious dog again, Suchan is confident enough to kill it with just the machete. Just a low-level agility scroll can give me such a huge improvement in strength. This thing is really useful. And to redeem such a scroll, it only cost a piece of barbecue. Suchan felt that it was really worth it. Then he thought, since there are agility scrolls, there must also be strength scrolls, intelligence scrolls, constitution scrolls, etc. I don't know when I will encounter such a goblin merchant again. The more of these things, the better. At the same time, Suchan also thought, since this thing is just a low-level scroll, can he use an intermediate or high-level one? After all, the description only says that such a low-level scroll cannot be used after one use. What about the intermediate one? It should be able to be used once. Suchan's heart suddenly moved and he opened his attribute panel. He found that the originally gray attribute panel finally had an additional attribute value of 1 point in the agility column. And in the constitution column, currently 0.8 points. The 2 columns equal to agility and constitution are now on. It turns out that this property panel is displayed like this. Suchan was thoughtful. Now he feels that his strength has greatly increased. Compared with himself who just entered the game 2 days ago, he is completely different. But such a huge change is actually only a change brought about by 1 point of agility and 0.8 points of constitution. If these attribute points reached 10 or even 100 points, wouldn't he be able to fly into the sky and escape from the Earth? It seems that this so-called global cave survival game is not as simple as I thought. Suchan thought for a while and put away his reverie. I plan to work hard to improve my strength. He had an intuition that the danger he would encounter later would become greater and greater. You must quickly improve your strength. Look around. This direction is an entire ice chamber. If you go in, it will remain incorruptible for thousands of years. This direction is a fire room. If you go in, there will be no ashes left for you. This direction is a piece of lava. It's up to you whether you can go in or not. This direction is a gas chamber. After entering, if you can't escape within 1 second, you will definitely die. This direction is a poisonous swamp, which is full of terrifying poisonous insects. If you think that because you can fly, you want to rush through it directly, then you are wrong. The poisonous insects here will spray venom dozens of meters away, sticking to even steel. Can corrode and burn through. There is a very terrifying heavily armored war elephant in this direction. If you face it, you have about a 0.1% chance of winning. This war elephant is immune to magic, has greatly reduced physical attack, and has a long nose that can catch flying insects in the air. Of course, don't expect it to leave, because the heavily armored war elephant loves home very much, and this is its territory. Suchan. At this moment, he felt like there were a million grass-mud horses galloping past in front of him. Damn it, none of the 6 directions is good. Either fire or ice, magma, or poisonous gas. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 1095. Chapter 1095, Making Automatic Quicksand Net. Something was caught. The only one who is considered good is the heavily armored war elephant with terrifying strength. And the prompt clearly stated that Suchen only had a 0.1% winning rate against it. Doesn't this make it obvious that you will lose? Finished. I seem to have entered a place of death. Suchen was just stunned. Suddenly remembered. It's not right. The prompt says that I have only a 0.1% chance of defeating the heavily armored war elephant, but why should I defeat it? You know, he also has a pet Xiao Cai Dai. Xiao Cai Dai's skill is Cai Mist. As long as he can temporarily confuse the heavily armored war elephant. As long as he can run away. But Xiao Cai Dai's Cai Mist range, only 10 meters. Suchen didn't know how big the heavy armored war elephant was. But just by hearing the name, Suchen could imagine that it was definitely not too small. Don't worry, first see if there is any way to improve your strength, and then wait and see. Suchen did not rush into the passage and deal with the heavily armored war elephant. Now simply take out the little black ball and unfold your own paradise. First, make the automatic quicksand net. I looked at the trading platform. Found that 200 pieces of flax and 20 pieces of rope have been collected. Ding. Consuming soul 1, rope 10, wood board 5, iron block 2, you successfully created automatic quicksand net *1. Following the instructions, Suchen installed the automatic quicksand net on the edge of the cabin. Might as well build another one. Ding. Consuming soul 1, rope 10, wood board 5, iron block 2, you successfully created automatic quicksand net *1. Another one was installed. Looking at the 2 automatic quicksand nets installed in each corner of the cabin, Suchen returned to the house. Whether this automatic quicksand net is easy to use and how many good things can be captured can only be observed later. It is still first, check the growth of the rice seeds and other things that were planted before. Come to the window. In the several soil pots arranged, the rice has actually begun to ear. And the hawthorn tree seeds have also bloomed. This growth rate is so fast. At this rate, it looks like I'll be able to eat rice tomorrow. Suchen was overjoyed. He could even use this to get more seeds, and so on, and he would have no shortage of food in the future. It was still early. Suchen used a machete to train his melee combat ability. 1 hour after that, he rested for half an hour. Then he used the hand crossbow to train his long-range attack ability. The same training lasted for 1 hour. After that, he prepared lunch. This time he used fierce dog meat. The last portion of snake meat had been traded with the goblin merchant. Compared with snake meat, dog meat does not have so much fat and is leaner, so it will be worse in the exam. Suchen doesn't have any lard or rapeseed oil now. How to make it delicious? Suchen thought for a while. Let's make stew this time. As long as the heat is right and you don't need much seasoning, you can make a pot of stew very delicious. Like radish ribs soup, corn ribs soup, yam ribs soup. He doesn't have vegetables in his hand right now. But put a few hawthorns. It's also good. It can add a little sour and sweet taste. And this dog meat has been affected by high temperatures all year round. Therefore, it is born with a bit of barbecue flavor. Now put it in the pot and keep stewing. Just wait until it is mushy. At that time is the most delicious and delicious time. But Suchen greatly underestimated the time required to stew the strong dog meat. It took a full 3 hours. Suchen and Xiao Kaidi were so hungry that their stomachs were growling. He screamed, the meat wasn't stewed yet. Suchen poked it with chopsticks. Well, it was still a little hard. Little Kaidi looked at Suchen pitifully with her mouth flat. Little guy, wait a moment, it's not stewed yet, it will be delicious when it is stewed. Xiaokaidi gestured to Suchen, making babbling noises. Through the spiritual connection between the two, Suchen understood that this girl couldn't wait any longer and said that she could eat the meat even if it wasn't stewed. Suchen nodded her little head in a funny way. Be patient. The little colorful butterfly could only pout at its small mouth and flew around the stew pot. At this moment, a thump sound suddenly came from the bottom of the cabin. Suchen raised his eyebrows. These two, I have never heard this kind of sound in cave paradise before. Suddenly I remembered that he had installed an automatic quicksand net at the bottom of the cabin. Could it be? Suchen felt a faint expectation in his heart. He quickly came to the bottom of the wooden house. In order to facilitate the collection of things captured by the automatic quicksand net, Suchen dug a 1 square meter hole in the ground of the wooden house in advance. Then it sank about 1 meter. Made a step. Boards were boarded up around the steps. Then a movable door was opened on the wooden board. On the one hand, he prevents any cave monsters from getting in through the wooden house. Secondly, it also makes it easier for him to pick up the things he caught. Now he came under the wooden house. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 1096. Chapter 1096 Agility Boots Manufacturing Diagram. Increase your winning rate. Open the door. The automatic quicksand net installed on the right side of the bottom of the wooden house was empty. There is a wooden box lying in the automatic quicksand net on the left side of the bottom of the wooden house. Suchen did not touch the wooden box rashly for the first time. Instead, I observed it first. Wait for the beep to sound. This wooden box is not dangerous. Suchen then picked up the wooden box, closed the door, and returned to the cabin. I never thought that this automatic quicksand net could really capture things. Suchen was happy. He planned to make more of these things later. It would be best to fill the bottom of the entire cabin. This way, the probability of capture would be greater. Open the small wooden box. Ding. You get Agility Boots Manufacturing Diagram *1. I'll go. It's actually an equipment manufacturing diagram. Suchen was shocked. Then he couldn't help but grin. Great, I can finally make my own equipment. Suchen quickly checked the materials needed to make combat boots. The materials needed to make agility combat boots: fire dog skin 2, lizard skin 2, copper block 1, iron block 1, green 1, soul 1. Suchen happens to have these things. Choose to make them immediately. Ding. It consumes fire dog skin 2, lizard skin 2, copper block 1, iron block 1, green 1, soul 1, and is being produced. Ding. Congratulations on successfully creating the green equipment agility boots *1. Suchen immediately checked the attributes of this piece of equipment. Agility boots, agility add 1, defense add 1. It actually added me 1 point of agility and 1 point of defense. Suchen was so moved that he almost cried. After so long, he finally had defense in this game. He immediately put on these agility boots. He could immediately feel the changes in his body. Putting on these combat boots, Suchen felt like he could walk as fast as flying. At the same time, it seemed as if there was a layer of energy film protecting him, which could weaken most of the damage for him. Suchen quickly opened the attribute bar. He found that the attribute bar in the agility column, the number has changed from the original 1 to 2. The defense column has also changed from gray to white, and at the same time the number has changed from 0 to 1. It is indeed a green equipment, its attributes have been greatly improved. Suchen couldn't put it down and stroked these brilliant boots. The more he looked at them, the more he liked them. Correct. Make a few more automatic quicksand nets. He, Suchen, has entered so many caves, killed so many cave monsters, and even traded with goblin merchants, but he has never received any equipment. Now he has installed 2 automatic quicksand nets, and it has only been 3 years. In just a few hours, he got an equipment manufacturing diagram. If more automatic quicksand nets are deployed, his strength will be improved every day in the future. Ding. Consuming Soul 1, Rope 10, Wood Board 5, Iron Block 2, you have successfully created automatic quicksand net *1. Ding. Consuming Soul 1, Rope 10, Wood Board 5, Iron Block 2, you have successfully created automatic quicksand net *1. 2 pieces were built again. Suchen installed them at the bottom of the cabin. Just as he was installing it, the cabin clicked again. Suchen took a closer look. He saw the automatic quicksand net in the previous corner, capturing a pile of planks. Can you capture all of this? It really sounds like a raft survival game. Suchen picked it up. Ding. You get woodboard *4. It's so refreshing to feel like you can just sit back and enjoy something without having to look for it anywhere. There are not enough souls. Making automatic quicksand nets requires souls. If there are more souls, I can make more automatic quicksand nets. Suchen thought for a while. Immediately he walked out of the cabin and looked forward. There is a very terrifying heavily armored war elephant in this direction. If you fight it, you have about a 1% chance of winning. This war elephant is immune to magic, greatly reduces physical attack, and its long nose can catch flying insects in the air. Of course, don't expect it to leave, because the heavily armored war elephant loves home very much, and this is its territory. The prompt has changed. The previous winning rate of 0.1% has now become 1%. It has increased 10 times. Of course, it is still small and pitiful. But it can also be seen from this point. Suchen only equipped just a pair of green agility boots increases the combat power tenfold. This is enough to show how good the gaming equipment is. I used to think that if I'm facing a difficult situation now, I still don't know what to do in the future. Well now, even if I am trapped here, as long as the automatic quicksand net is there, I can continue to obtain new resources and continuously improve my strength. Suchen was lying on the chair. Suddenly he felt that it would be good to just stay here like this and pick up resources every day. The key is a little colorful butterfly, which is eye-catching and relieves boredom. The little guy is still circling the pot, flying around and around. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 1097. Chapter 1097. The quicksand net has a great harvest. Stun bomb. Ever since she tasted Suchen's cooking yesterday, she has been extremely interested in the various things Suchen made. Now that I see that this pot of meat has been cooking for several hours, I am of course impatient to wait. Waited another 2 hours. Suchen suddenly smelled a strange fragrance. The source of the aroma is the stewed dog meat. All right. At that moment, he hurriedly came to the fireplace. The little colorful butterfly was babbling and gesticulating with Suchen, and he was already impatient to eat. Suchen opened the lid of the pot. Suddenly, a strange fragrance hit his nostrils, which made people move their index fingers. Suchen opened the pot lid. Chen poked it with chopsticks. It went in easily. The meat was even very loose. Finally stewed. Suchen sprinkled the salt on it, briefly adjusted the taste, then tasted it and nodded. Xiaokaidi was already drooling at the side. Suchen was a little amused when he saw this guy staring at the pot eagerly. But there was no deliberate delay. Immediately he took out the bowl and filled a bowl for the little guy. Then he would just hold the pot and eat. Bring everything to the table. Suchen and Xiaokaidi immediately started to feast. Don't even say it. This kind of ferocious dog meat is originally very difficult to stew. But as long as it is stewed, it is very delicious. The meat has a unique aroma and does not have any fishy smell. Just add salt and simple seasoning, and it's very delicious. With one pampering one person, he immediately ate up a whole pot of fierce dog meat. Not even the soup at the bottom of the pot is left. Wow! So full. Suchen was lying on the chair, resting comfortably. Xiao Kaidi also imitated his example, lying in his arms and burping. Suchen was thinking at this time. If only he could have a cigarette. After all, as the old saying goes, a cigarette after a meal is better than a living god. After resting for a while, Suchen planned to take a look under the cabin again. Because while he was eating, he probably added 2 automatic quicksand nets. The reason? I actually heard several clicking sounds in a row. I thought I had caught something again. Suchen came under the wooden house. When he opened the door, he immediately found that 4 quicksand nets had harvested them. He quickly picked them up one by one. Ding! You get empty mineral water bottle *1. Ding! You get stun bomb *1. Ding! You get tobacco seed *1. Ding! You get pipe manufacturing diagram *1. Ding! You get wood board *2. Ding! You get fertilizer *10. After harvesting it, Suchen found that there were tobacco seeds and pipe manufacturing diagrams inside. Hey! This is really what you want. Suchen quickly came to the cabin with a backpack of things. Discover that the only materials needed to make a pipe are a few copper blocks and wooden boards. Create now. Ding! Consuming copper block 0.1 and wood board 0.5, you successfully made pipe *1. At the same time, he made another earthen pot and planted the tobacco seeds. He remembered that he had just received 10 packages of fertilizer. Now he read the instructions for this thing to see if it worked as he thought. Fertilizer can be used to accelerate the growth of plants. Really? It has the same effect as he thought. Suchen even used a packet of fertilizer on the tobacco seeds. Ding! Use fertilizer *1, and your tobacco seeds will grow rapidly. It's visible to the naked eye. The tobacco seeds that were just planted took root and sprouted in the soil pot, spreading branches and leaves. They grew to half a meter high in one go. Oops! Looking at the situation, I can harvest tobacco by tomorrow. There were 9 bags of fertilizer left, which Suchen collected and didn't use. Because whether it was rice or hawthorn fruits, they would be harvested tomorrow. He was not in a hurry to eat it now. After all, he had just eaten a delicious stew. What is this stun bomb used for? Suchen picked up something similar to a small grenade. There was a pull ring underneath. This reminded Suchen of the CF he used to play. Stun bomb, it explodes within 3 seconds after being thrown, and can stun the cave monsters for at least 5 seconds. More than seconds. No explosion damage, only stun effect? At least 5 seconds. So, if Suchen used the stun bomb on the heavily armored war elephant, wouldn't it also stun him for at least 5 seconds? Suchen's eyes lit up and he immediately became energetic. But he didn't dare to be too excited yet. To determine whether the idea in his mind was feasible. Now he came to the door of the cabin and looked in that direction again. There is a very terrifying heavily armored war elephant in this direction. If you fight it, you have about a 90% chance of winning. This war elephant is immune to magic, greatly reduces physical attack, and its long trunk can catch flying insects in the air at will. Of course, don't expect it to leave, because the heavily armored war elephant loves home very much, and this is its territory. I'll go. It was only 1% just now, and now it's soared to 90%. Damn, this is a sure win. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 1098. Chapter 1098 Battle against the giant heavy armored war elephant. Violent. Suchen quickly put away the cabin. Taking Xiao Cai Dai with me, I swung the shovel and dug into the passage. Soon, the transmission channel appeared in front of him. Suchen held up the crossbow in one hand and the stun bomb in the other. Take a deep breath and step over. Swish. Suchen appeared in the new cave. This cave is very large. It is hundreds of meters in diameter and very dry. No wonder the heavily armored war elephants regard it as their territory. Suchen looked at the center of the field again. I saw a huge creature with a height of more than 20 meters, lying in the center, seemingly sleeping. However, when Suchen made a slight move, the guy actually raised his nose and became alert. Roar. When it saw Suchen, an uninvited guest who broke into his territory, he yelled immediately. With his eyes red, he was about to swing up his huge proboscis and attack Suchen. The latter quickly activated the flying ring ability and dodged away at extremely fast speeds. As mentioned in the previous tip, before Suchen obtained the stun bomb, the probability of defeating this heavily armored war elephant was very low. But it didn't say that Suchen couldn't avoid it. In other words, Suchen could completely dodge the opponent's attack with his current agility in reaching out. After some dodging, the thick armored war elephant became even more furious after seeing that it could not hit the tiny insect like Suchen many times. The thick armored war elephant is usually very gentle, but they are very territorial. Any creature that breaks into its territory, even if it is of the same kind, will be driven away or even killed by it. The huge thick armored war elephant was rampaging in the cave. Wherever Suchen flies, there he hits. The hard rock wall, under this giant thick armored war elephant, was knocked out of big holes one after another like tofu. Suchen was also shocked by this guy's terrifying power. It's not just about avoiding this guy's collision. Also be careful of the rocks that will fly out when this guy hits the rock wall. The force of these stones flying out is also very strong. If you are hit, you will not be killed but also injured. I can't hide anymore, this guy is getting more and more crazy. Suchen held onto the stun bomb. Watching the timing, he waited until the giant heavily armored war elephant hit the rock wall again. Suchen took advantage of this change of energy and pulled the ring of the stun bomb. Then silently counting down for 1.5 seconds. Then he threw it very accurately to the head of the thick armored war elephant. Boom! The stun bomb just landed next to the head of the heavy armored war elephant and immediately exploded. A huge shockwave, and exploded directly next to his head. This giant heavy armored war elephant more than 20 meters high actually fell down without a word. He fell into dizziness. But Suchen didn't know what this guy was going to do. How long does it take to be stunned? The instructions for the stun bomb say that it will stun for at least 5 seconds. Without missing the opportunity, Suchen quickly flew over the guy's head and took out a 1.5 meter long machete. After the machete was refined to the green level, it was very sharp. Suchen held the machete with both hands and aimed it at this guy's eyes. He swung it straight down. Phew! The 1 meter and 5 meter long machete was all inserted into his eyes. This heavily armored war elephant, even though it was dizzy, still being attacked like this, he screamed in pain. Suchen was worried that this guy would wake up immediately. He quickly held the handle of the machete and twisted it a few more times. This time, the heavy armored war elephant was directly out of dizziness in advance. Waking up in pain. While struggling to get up, he raised his proboscis and attacked in all directions. Suchen quickly flew back to the corner. Then he unfolded the small black ball and got into the cave. Facts have proved that this decision is very correct. Because he was the heavily armored war elephant, which had smashed its entire eye and even damaged the inside of its brain, had fallen into complete madness. It was running wildly everywhere with all its strength. There was no plan at all. Moreover, its speed and strength had more than doubled. But because of the cave heaven paradise and the caves are not in the same space, so the attack of the thick armored war elephant cannot attack Suchen. The latter can stay safely in the cabin and look outside. Xiao Kaidi also stays nervously inside Suchen beside me, looking out. It felt like the earth was falling apart. The thick armored war elephant was charging wildly, with blood flowing profusely from the side of its eyes. After about half an hour of this crazy collision, this guy finally lost his strength and fell down heavily. But Suchen did not. He didn't rush forward rashly. Because this guy was too strong, Suchen couldn't guarantee that this guy had lost his fighting ability. The key was that the beep didn't sound, which proved that this guy wasn't dead yet. You know, animals pretend to be dead, and the ability to give the opponent a backhand blow is innate and extremely dangerous. In this way, Suchen stayed in the cabin, waiting for the beep to sound. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 1099. Chapter 1099 Blue War Elephant Leather Armor. Damn it! What did the boss put on the trading platform? However, what Suchen didn't expect was the vitality of this heavily armored war elephant is really too strong. Surprisingly, one night passed and the notification tone still did not sound. Then after lunch, he was still alive. Just when Suchen was losing his temper and wanted to go out and take a look, this heavily armored war elephant actually stood up unsteadily. Suchen was shocked. Damn it! Can you still stand up? Could it be that it has recovered? Just when Suchen was desperate, this thick armored war elephant actually wandered to the place where it was lying before. Then it let out a shrill scream and fell down suddenly. Ding! Congratulations on successfully killing a thick armored war elephant. Ding! You get Soul 5, War Elephant Meat 50, War Elephant Skin 30, War Elephant Tusk 2, War Elephant Blood 10, War Elephant Bone 4. Ding! Because you leapfrogged and killed a powerful cave monster, you received an additional reward, Blue War Leather Armor *1. Suchen was shocked when he heard the notification sound. Damn it! A leapfrog kill? Additional rewards? Blue leather armor. It's so exciting. Suchen couldn't care less about the many gains he had made. He quickly took out the blue-grade War Elephant leather armor. War Elephant leather armor, strength add 2, defense add 2. The strength is directly increased by 2 points, and the defense is also increased by 2 points. Damn it, it's indeed a blue grade, it's twice as powerful as green equipment. Suchen quickly put on this black leather armor. The leather armor was originally very big, but after wearing it, the leather armor automatically slimmed down and fit Suchen's body shape. When Suchen wore it like this, he actually didn't feel slim at all. I didn't feel any discomfort at all. Moreover, the leather armor looked very heavy, but I didn't feel any weight at all when wearing it. It's amazing. At the same time, Suchen immediately felt a powerful force coming out of the leather armor, and then permeating his whole body. Suddenly, Suchen felt as if he could kill an old cow with one punch. This feeling of extraordinary power is so refreshing. At the same time, the defense increased to 3 points. Suchen felt that even if the stones splashed by the heavy armored war elephant were hit, he would not be harmed. In order to test this conjecture, Suchen picked up a stone and threw it at himself, hit him on his body. Bang, bang. I don't feel anything. No harm at all. Continue to increase the strength. Crash. Crash. Still no feeling. You know, Suchen just hit himself with all his strength. His current strength has passed through the leather armor. The increase is still very powerful. It is several times stronger than that of ordinary players. If nothing else, this impact resistance alone is extraordinary. Suchen thought for a while, then took the machete and carefully cut the leather armor. Hiss. There is no white seal at all. Suchen increased his strength a little more. There was still no white mark. It wasn't until he finally used all his strength that the machete left a tiny mark on the leather armor. Good guy, luckily I used a stun bomb to knock this guy out before, and then I started with its most vulnerable and unprotected eyes. Otherwise, even if it stands and lets me chop it, I can't even look at it. War Elephant leather armor, as the name suggests, is a war armor made of the skin of a heavy armored war elephant. So this blue-grade war elephant leather armor has a high defense, which also means that the heavy armored war elephant has a high defense. Su Chen was really lucky to be able to kill this heavily armored war elephant. No wonder Su Chen received a special reward from the game for the first time. It turns out that this game also has special rewards for leapfrog kills. It seems that this game has many secrets. Su Chen stroked the blue leather armor on his body happily. I feel much safer in the future. At this time, Su Chen had time to look at the items obtained after the heavy armored war elephant was decomposed. The first is the 5 souls. It seems that the stronger the burrow monster is, the more souls will be obtained after killing it. Then the amount of war elephant meat and war elephant skin is also very large, far exceeding the other cave monsters Su Chen killed before. There are as many as 50 pieces of war elephant meat and 30 pieces of war elephant skin. These tough leathers, I don't know how many pieces of equipment can be made in the future. Su Chen checked the war elephant meat. War elephant meat, the meat is hard and has a poor taste, but it is very filling. It seems that the taste is not good. Su Chen is not too disappointed. Because there are too many gadgets. If you throw them to the trading platform, they will definitely be very popular and can be exchanged for many needed resources. Su Chen immediately threw some of these war elephant meats on the trading platform. Used in exchange gold nuggets, silver nuggets, copper nuggets, or corresponding ores, and spiritual talismans. When Su Chen put these things on the trading platform, the entire chat channel exploded. Damn it! What did the boss number XXXX put on the trading platform? Horrible! It's actually war elephant meat. Did this boss just kill a war elephant? You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 1100. Chapter 1100 Strength Improvement. The space is broken. Just by listening to the name, you can tell that this cave monster is definitely very powerful. I never thought that the boss could even kill such a terrifying existence. Boss number XXXX, I am a cute girl with big eyes. I am only 18 years old this year. I admire you very much. Can you add me as a friend? People can do anything. I suspect that this boss may have been a top special forces soldier before, otherwise it would be impossible to explain why he is so powerful. Yes, as far as I know, those who are doing well nowadays are basically people with extremely strong physiques and combat capabilities. There are special forces from country X, soldiers from country X, and some who are, a battle-hardened mercenary. Well, there are only a handful of European emperors who have relied on luck to obtain various resources to survive until now. Alas, the key is that this boss is very aloof. I sent him a lot of messages but kept ignoring him. After Su Chen returned to the cabin, he also looked at these chats while resting. After seeing this information, I just smiled. Then he didn't care. Xia Xiaoling, on the other hand, knew that Su Chen was the boss numbered XXXX, so she sent a message. Congratulations to the boss for killing a powerful cave monster again. Su Chen just smiled at these compliments and congratulations. Next, he began to look at other materials. War ivory and war elephant bones are all rare materials for making weapons. Su Chen noticed the word rare. It seems that the more powerful the burrow monster is, the more valuable the materials exploded from it, which may be used to make high-level weapons. Suchen collected all these things happily. Finally, he looked at the 10 War Elephant Blood. War Elephant Blood, after taking it, it can improve the physical fitness. In the description, there is no word trace or small amount. Suchen's eyes lit up and he felt excited. The fierce dog blood before showed a small improvement in physical fitness. But this War Elephant Blood did not have a small improvement, it only improved the physical fitness. That means that this War Elephant Blood improved the physical fitness. The amplitude is definitely higher than that of fierce dog blood. Very good. The amount of War Elephant Blood is sufficient, and the amplitude is greater than that of fierce dog blood. I don't know how strong my final physique will be if I swallow it all. Suchen immediately decided to pay attention. Just stay here. On the one hand, use the automatic quicksand net to capture various things. On the one hand, wait for the harvest of those seeds. On the other hand, and the most important thing, take the blood of the war elephant, and keep until his physique is upgraded to the strongest level. In this way, when he completes the improvement, his overall combat power will definitely be improved to a big level. By then, his survivability will be even stronger. Thinking of this, Suchen directly brought up a copy of War Elephant Blood. Gudong started drinking. It doesn't have that big of a fishy smell, and it tastes almost like ordinary juice, which is pretty good. After drinking a whole portion, his body began to show signs of fever. Suchen knew that this was the War Elephant Blood starting to improve his physical condition. He lay on the bed with peace of mind, waiting for the improvement to be completed. About 2 hours later, Suchen, when I woke up, I felt something tickling my face. It was very itchy. When I opened my eyes, I found that it was Xiao Kaidi playing around. She nodded her little head angrily. Who knew this guy? He pointed at the fireplace, then at the top of his head, and then at his belly. What does it mean? What time is it? Why don't you cook? Master, I'm so hungry. Suchen smiled. He looked at it. Judging from the time, it was okay. Just as he stood up, there was a sudden crackling sound in all the bones in his body. At the same time, a huge force filled his body. It startled the little colorful butterfly beside him. This is... Suchen looked at his hands. My strength increased. Suchen stood up quickly. Suddenly he realized that he seemed to be a little taller. He took a basin of water and looked at himself. He does seem to have grown a bit taller, but he is still so handsome. Suchen used to be 1.7 meters tall. Now he estimates that he should be 1.73 meters tall. At the same time, his strength has also grown a lot. But he doesn't know exactly how big it is. He then clicked on the attribute list and looked at it. Strength attribute, 2.3. This War Elephant Blood has increased my strength attribute by 0.3. Suchen pulled it into his fist hard and felt extremely excited. The key is that this is not just an improvement in strength. There is also an all-round improvement in physical fitness, defense, agility, etc. Well, except for intelligence, of course. So far, Suchen has not had any improvement in intelligence. He doesn't know what to eat to improve intelligence, or how to obtain an intelligence scroll. Nor does he know what impact he will have on his own strength after improving intelligence. Improvement. However, just as he felt the surge in power and thought about the settings of this game, the space around him suddenly turned into countless broken lenses. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 1101. Chapter 1101 Perfecting the Soul Filaments. Many souls repair the new world. Start a new journey. Looking at it all, a flash of enlightenment came to Suchen's heart. Ah! Is the repair finally completed? Suddenly I felt that the repairs were done too quickly, and I feel a little nostalgic for this dungeon game. Suchen turned into a stream of light. When he opened his eyes, he had returned to the small world where Luo Shen and the other girls lived. Husband, the small world this time is a fantasy world. Although it is more difficult and time-consuming to practice, you may be able to perfect more than 3 strands of the soul filaments at one time. Luo Shen said softly. Oh? Perfecting more than 3 strands at once. Suchen was slightly surprised. He didn't expect that Luo Shen and the others, building a small world here, would slowly find a way to perfect multiple soul filaments at once. So how many strands of soul filaments should I separate out this time? Suchen asked. Well, this is a new attempt. Husband, please separate 3 strands for the time being and try whether this plan is feasible. Luoshan nodded his smooth chin and said. Suchen smiled. At that moment, 3 strands of flawed souls were separated. Luoshan opened a new small world. Under the control of Suchen's body, these 3 strands the flawed souls were entangled together and turned into a stream of light to enter this new small world. And turned into his appearance, but the memory in his soul was once again blocked in the deepest part of his consciousness. Only after all the filaments of the soul are perfected can they finally be revived. As the streamer flies into the small world, a new journey begins. Suchen, who was transformed from 3 flawed soul filaments, automatically accepted the memory given to him by Luo Shen in this small world. With a crash sound, the 3-inch thick marble was shattered into pieces. At this time, Suchen slumped to the ground with his chest in his arms, vomiting blood. Because his body memory has been sealed deep in his consciousness, his current memory will only think that he is a person in this small world. And he is a disciple who entered Qingxia sect at the age of 10. But now he seems to be in trouble. At this time, 3 feet away in front of him, Yang Su gently patted his sleeves and dusted off the non-existent dust. He glanced at the boy who was knocked away by his palm and smiled contemptuously. Around the two of them, hundreds of 16 or 17-year-old outer disciples on the martial arts field were in an uproar. This, Yang Su's strength is actually so strong. With one move, Suchen, who used to be number 1 in the outer sect, was seriously injured and vomited blood. This is too scary. Many people looked at the handsome man standing proudly in the field with horrified eyes. I'm afraid it's not that simple. Among the outer disciples, there were those with advanced cultivation, their eyes flashed, and they whispered to their friends. After Suchen won the first place in the outer disciple monthly competition a month ago, there were sudden rumors that his strength was declining rapidly, and he had been in seclusion for the past month. Now it seems that rumor is not groundless. Yang Su's strength is very strong, but he will never be so strong that he can seriously injure Suchen, who was once the number 1 in the outer sect, with one move. There must be something fishy about this. The others looked carefully at the unconscious Suchen next to the gravel, and couldn't bear to whisper, no matter what, Suchen will never get up again after suffering this disaster. Look at his neck. Everyone heard the sound and took a closer look, and suddenly took a breath of air conditioning. This Yang Su looks handsome and elegant on the surface, but he is so ruthless in his attacks. The veins on Suchen's neck were protruding and beating randomly, which was clearly a sign that his cultivation had been exhausted. This Yang Su actually ruined his cultivation. The man standing proudly in the field glanced at Suchen, who was on the ground without knowing whether he was alive or dead, then looked around and said calmly, "Is there anyone else who wants to compete with me? Yang will definitely stay with you to the end today." When everyone heard this, they all lowered their heads and did not dare to speak. Yang Su's meaning was very simple. At this time, he was the number 1 disciple of the Qingxia sect's outer section who dares to disobey Suchen on the ground. This is the fate of the challenger. Usually, Yang Su's strength is that he is the number 1 among the 500 outer disciples except Suchen. Now that the number one person in the past has fallen at his feet, then Yang Su will naturally become the new strongest disciple of the outer sect was appointed. Yang Su took a panoramic view of everyone's reactions, sneered in his heart, turned his face, and said with a smile, "Oh, one more thing, the daughter in charge of the outer sect, Lu Yuxia, will be with me. The young master has become a double cultivator, and I hope you will show your respect at the wedding banquet in half a month, haha." When everyone heard this, they were in an uproar again. As we all know, Lu Yuxia, the daughter of the outer sect, was the most beautiful girl. She was once Suchan's suitor, but now she was snatched away by Yang Su. A kind-hearted person, looking at the young man who was still twitching and vomiting blood on the ground, he could only sigh and sigh that life is unpredictable and misfortunes never come singly. The beautiful girl who had been standing behind Yang Su curled a strand of hair with her green fingers and gave him an angry and shy look, causing Yang Su to laugh loudly, hugging the girl's weak and boneless waist, and the two left happily.